Hey, what's up guys? Today we're back with another pair of subwoofers to review. These are the brand new REL HT1205 mkIIs. These are going to replace the first 1205s. So I'm expecting these to look a little bit different, sound different, and better too. On the top here we have the grill, which attaches via little push pins. So these are not magnetic. Here we've got some documentations and the power cord. So here in the bottom of the subwoofer, you get some pretty nice feet. You can see that it is branded with the REL logo on each one of these feet. Let's take a quick little look around up front. So you can see that this does have a 12-inch driver, just like the older version did. I think it's the carbon fiber cone. It's got the same kind of brushed metal vinyl wrap as well, which goes all the way around to the sides and all the way around back, which you will find a 500 Class D amplifier. This thing is rated down to about 22 Hertz. Let's take a look at the controls. We've got your 0 or 180 degree phase switch. We've got a variable crossover from 30 Hertz all the way up to 200 Hertz. Your volume knob, your low-level ins and outs, LFE input, standby, auto on-off switch, main power switch, and then the power inlet. So let's take a look up front here. Unlike the 1205 Mark I, this one has an entire solid glossy top plate. Last generation model just had the top plate which centered around the middle of the subwoofer. This one also has the nice little REL logo painted in the center of the top plate, and I probably wouldn't touch it too much or else you're going to get some fingerprints on it and maybe get a lot of micro scratches. So be careful if you're going to polish this up or wash it or anything like that. So they did send me two of these guys. I'm going to go ahead, set this up in the home theater, and I'll come back, give you some thoughts and impressions.
I'm going to be using these subs in my dedicated home theater with one 1205 in the front left corner and the other one placed in the opposite right rear corner. They'll be hooked up to a Trinov altitude processor, and demos will be played off of a Zapedi and a Kaleidoscape. And I won't be using any DSP to alter the response. I'll only be using whatever controls come built into the subs.
Since I've already reviewed the 1205 Mark I's a couple years back, I'm going to go ahead and play the exact same demos that I played with those first ones, kicking it off with the beginning of Edge of Tomorrow. We all know what the intro sounds like. It's an infrasonic demo that will destroy lesser subwoofers and some bigger subwoofers as well.
I'm not sure if we're even on the air. This is
Very much like the 1205 Mark I's, this pretty much performed almost exactly the same. I did feel that the 1205 Mark I's went a little bit lower than this one did, but this one seemed to hit a little bit harder on the higher notes. But let's be real, these are two 12-inch subwoofers and they're not going to dig particularly deep. They're only rated to go down to about 22 Hertz, and this demo goes down to like 10 Hertz, so these were never going to do this demo justice. The next demo we're going to check out is the pod scene in War of the Worlds. There is a ton of low frequency extension down to like 30, 20 Hertz when that pod arm comes out of the ground, so expect some pretty hard hitting bass, also some pretty powerful rumble as well. This demo is going to be from the regular Blu-ray, and the audio is going to be in DTS 5.1. Just like the beginning of Edge of Tomorrow, I did feel that these ones hit a little bit harder and cleaner than the 1205 Mark I's. I did feel a little bit of the extension did linger on a little bit more with the Mark I's, but again, there was cleaner output on this one and I felt it more in my body. But if you didn't have both of these subwoofers on hand to compare side by side, I would say that the Mark I's did sound a little less refined, whereas on the Mark II's, it was definitely just a cleaner, harder hitting, very tactile feel when the things were blowing up or things were hitting the ground, just those explosions had a bit more grunt to them. And they also seemed to react just a tad bit faster than the Mark I's. The next demo we're going to check out is Midway. This is one of my favorite mixes, and it's coming off of the Kaleidoscape, and the mix is in Dolby Atmos. There's a ton of bass here with airplanes flying left and right, things exploding. It's just a bass extravaganza. So the Mark II absolutely destroyed this demo. I was hearing gunshots and explosions react faster than the Mark I's, just by a little bit. I don't want to demean the Mark I's because those are pretty speedy subwoofers as well, but the Mark II's definitely take it up a notch. So the speed and the reaction is just a step above the Mark I's, which is really going to aid in that tactile feedback that you're going to feel in your body, and also transferring from the floor up to your chair to make it almost feel like you've got some butt kickers. And since we're talking about speed and reaction, let's jump into my favorite demo, Fury on 4K Blu-ray. The audio is in Dolby Atmos, and again, this demo is great to test out how speedy and reactive your subwoofers are. This is going to sound like I'm saying the same thing over and over again, but the Mark II's is a speedier, faster, reactive subwoofer than the Mark I's. And this is a great demo to test out because when those tanks are firing, you just want to hear that immediate, abrupt reaction, just slam, automatically, just boom, boom, boom. You want that fast, reactive, percussive hits. And this is exactly what you get in the Mark II's. The next thing we're going to test out is how well the subwoofers can expand your soundstage. In this demo, you should be able to hear tanks driving maybe like a mile or so off in the distance, also some explosions going off in the background that should seem to stretch miles away from where your actual speakers are.
I set my tracks in, Jerry took them out. So I had Titanic guns there, possibly there, I don't know. I need you to rescue my guys. Take the guns out. I can do that.
Now, in comparison with the Mark I's, I did feel that the Mark II's sounded a little bit more forward sounding.
I only say that because the Mark I had lower extension, which picked up more subtle low-end notes, such as the tank's treads rumbling across the ground, and those bombs going off seemed like they were coming from the next town over. The Mark II made these same sound effects appear to come from across the street, since it seemed more heavy-handed and lacked the extra bit of extension down low.
Crown's got sights on this road. I don't want to show my flank. Any objection if I come in here? Right, motherfucker.
Now, I did take a few measurements at my main listening seat. Keep in mind that this is the response I got from my room, and it'll likely be very different for yours. The first one is the response I got for a single Mark II. And yes, it looks horrible, but by adding both subwoofers together, you can see that this looks fantastic. It's basically ruler flat from 24 Hz to 80 Hz, which is where my crossover was set at. It starts dropping off at about 20 Hz or so, which is in line with what it's spec'd at, and with room gain, I get a little bit more down to about 10 Hz, but it's nothing you're really gonna feel much at all. In comparison, you can see that I get a lot more extension with the Mark I at the same 10 Hz frequency, which is exactly what I heard, or rather felt, in those demos. But on the other side, you can see how much better the response is at 24 Hz on up on the Mark II. It's essentially missing from the Mark I, which mirrors exactly what I heard, so those explosions and gunshots carried more weight and clarity. They also sounded more accurate for music over the Mark I's. Keep in mind that REL doesn't use DSP in their subwoofers, and I also didn't use any DSP to alter the responses, so getting such a flat response with the Mark II's was pretty impressive. At the time of this video, the 1205 Mark II is selling for $849, and the Mark I is selling for $749. Honestly, I could go for either one of these if I needed a small, compact subwoofer. The Mark II hits harder, is faster on the attack, it's cleaner, more accurate, and I think it looks better physically. While the Mark I digs a lot deeper, so those big action movies might seem more impactful in certain situations. So I suppose it's kind of a tough call and would really depend on what you value the most. I think if you have a dual-purpose system for movies and music, then the Mark II would be the clear winner since it should blend in more seamlessly with your main speakers. Now, if you don't already have a 1205 Mark I, I think there's enough positives going for the newer version that going for the Mark II would make more sense. Either way you go, they're both fantastic subwoofers, take up very minimal floor space, and won't break the bank. So why not go ahead and get two? Two is always better than one. Well, those are my thoughts on the new REL 1205 Mark II subwoofers. Have you heard them, and how do you think they sound compared to the Mark Is? Leave a comment down below and let me know. As always guys, thanks for watching. Be sure to like this video if you found it useful, and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you again in the next video.